Hello, friends of Powerhouse Bakery. My name is Suzanne Parker, and I'm the owner and the founder of this little bakery. And what we do here is we help people find their best healthy. I started Powerhouse about 7 years ago, and my goal was to really look at the gluten-free world and help people understand that just because something is gluten-free does not mean that it's healthy. Moreover, how do we understand what is healthy that lives under that halo of healthy when it's not necessarily that? Um, Most of you might know that I used to work at HEB, and my goal there was to help people understand what healthy was, and to try to break down barriers that people often have, that healthy is expensive and it's hard to prepare, and it's going to lose all of its flavor. And so the products that we have here in our little shop, we really try to celebrate the best flavor. It starts with the very best ingredients, trying to make sure that we can meet people where they are and they can be wowed by a health food that is not only truly healthy by the ingredients that it has, but also that it tastes great and it would be fun to share. We also try to offer foods that are allergen friendly. So people that have a distinct intolerance to things like eggs or dairy or gluten, they can find a place to pick foods that they can feel safe eating and sharing with their friends and family. So when I used to work at HEB, and even before that, as a registered dietitian, I helped people with their goals to get healthier. And so often people are really in pursuit of weight loss. I used to train athletes in my years as a personal trainer, and really their goal was also to not only lose fat so their muscles were more prominent, but also to really win at their event, to be the very best they could be. And so over the 30 years that I've been a dietitian, I've really tried to help people understand what that wellness paradigm is all about. And so today I want to share with you kind of my healthy rules to live by. And over the years that I've been teaching nutrition and helping people understand what their healthy is all about, I've really come to the understanding that just what we put on our plate is not the only piece of that wellness paradigm. And even during my time at HEB, when I designed the Slim Down Showdown for the partners at HEB, and then of course we expanded that to Texans, I realized that we are very good as Americans at losing weight. We're not very good at keeping that weight loss off. And why is that? Well, it's honestly because we're trying to simplify wellness by just looking at what we eat. And so in my healthy rules to live by, what I try to help people see is that there's a lot more to it. So when we see a wellness paradigm, we really have 5 components. One, of course, is our physical. So activity level is definitely a big part of our overall wellness. And physical activity does not mean 45 minutes of high intensity workouts. It doesn't mean that you have to do a yoga class every week. It doesn't mean you have to play tennis or you have to be a weightlifter. We're learning that physical activity needs to be enjoyable, otherwise we won't do it. It also needs to be safe for your own body. So if you are new to exercise, going to a CrossFit gym and trying to compete with the experts that are next to you is of course not probably the best choice. So it needs to be not only enjoyable, but it also needs to be safe for you. And sometimes that's hard to know. We really live in a world where we're taught that the competitive spirit is the only way to succeed, and you have to push hard. And if you have a personal trainer or if you have somebody that's guiding your workouts, their job is to push you really hard, and you're not successful unless you are so sore the next day that you can't get out of bed. And honestly, in my time as a personal trainer, I absolutely did not agree with that philosophy. My hope is that as you build your strength, you challenge your workouts a little more so that you can start to build on top of, rather than constantly breaking down those muscles that you're trying to work. So being safe not only means it needs to start at a place where it's good for you, it means that it has to have progressive overload, and it needs to have rest periods. So you work muscles hard and you let them rest. So all of that becomes very important. And it's not going to be a one size fits all in your wellness plan. The other part of wellness is social. Social interaction is super important. We know that now more than ever, as our current situation has required that we stay home more and not hug and be close to our friends and families like we're used to. Social engagement is so important in our wellness. I love to use my 85-year-old mother-in-law as a great example. She has such a rich environment that she really takes a lot of pride in cultivating. Not only does she garden, but she loves to invite people over to see her garden. That becomes her niche, to have a social engagement. And so having friends that are of similar age to you, but also in different age brackets, really helps you to have a rich environment of interacting with people and making that occasion full of love and opportunity. The other one that's very important is intellectual. So we want to make sure that intellectual stimulation is part of your wellness paradigm. Oftentimes we hear that when people retire, their wellness starts to really decline. And that's because they lose purpose in their life. And knowing that they don't have a reason to get up and have a goal to accomplish in a day. And so that intellectual piece is still really important. So all through the ages, whether we're just starting school, we have grandkids or kids that are just starting school, in middle age or in retirement age, having intellectual challenges is absolutely important, not only in our brain health, but in our overall sense of accomplishment and having goals each day. In addition to physical and social and intellectual, spiritual wellness is so important. Feeling that we have a higher power, feeling that we have purpose in this world is absolutely paramount in making sure that our wellness is complete. Understanding that there is more to the day than just how we spend it. There's more to this world than just the life that is short, 70 years, and that's it. Let's hope not. Let's hope that there's a spiritual connection to a higher power that gives us purpose. And then, of course, we look at what's on our plate. So nutrition and hydration, of course, are really important. And while oftentimes a nutrition discussion becomes the only discussion, I never want to de-emphasize the importance of how activity can evolve through your life stages. Even if you can't run a 10K anymore and you used to when you were in your 20s, having some form of activity is really important. So let it evolve and don't be stuck in, well, I used to be able to do that, so now I should be able to still do that. Again, allow your body to transition and your expectations to follow. Social, make sure that you find new, fun, interesting groups. If you're not already part of a prayer group or a book club, allow that to be something that you can investigate. Try not to have it only on the internet or in an electronic connection. Having physical connectivity with people is such a rich component of our social health. And of course, intellectual, making sure that we challenge our brains, learn something new. We don't necessarily have to learn a whole new language, but maybe we can start to learn some new phrases of a new language or a new system that we could learn how to process. And of course, one of my favorite things in this category is cooking. So if you can learn a new cooking style, that would really kill two birds with one stone, because now you can learn a new style of cooking, follow a new recipe, maybe learn how to use a new cooking tool like an air fryer or a pressure cooker, and that would also feed into your nutrition. Read some books and learn about where science is providing us sound information that we can really use in our whole wellness paradigm. Reading a new book is a great way to bring in nutrition science as well as cooking, and maybe even make it social by inviting some friends over and really making it a part of a fun dinner party. And of course, the spiritual is such a valuable part to anybody's overall wellness. And if you're not already part of a church gathering of some sort, having a home church is a fantastic way to not only make friends and develop your social network and some rich, close friendships, but it also allows you to study your special book, whether it be the Bible or some other form of really understanding where you fit into your ideas of spiritual strength. And now, as we go a little bit deeper into the nutrition page, I want you to see kind of what my healthy rules to live by are. And of course, when we look at the plate and we look at our nutrition as far as wellness, there are some healthy rules to live by that I like to always put down as guidelines. So over the 30 years that I've been a dietitian, I've kind of developed these as big benchmarks that helps you understand how your nutrition goals could fit into this. And the first thing we want to think about is, what is your goal? So when you're looking specifically at your nutrition, what is your goal? Is there a symptom that you're trying to improve on? Is it minimizing risk because of some genetics? Or is it trying to gain muscle mass or lose body fat or feeling better if you have GI troubles like IBS? Understanding your goal is a really important part of following those healthy rules and making that overall wellness a success for you. So once you know your goals, then we kind of get down into the nuts and bolts. For sure, we want to be a daytime eater. And what I mean by that is, regardless of what eating style you choose, fueling your body when you're most active is a smart approach. Even if you do fast, which of course we're meant to fast during our time of sleep. Say we sleep for 10 hours or 8. Of course, that's a natural fast. And then when you wake up, you want to break the fast, which is where we got our word. So break the fast, breakfast should absolutely be something that we want to start the day with. Whether that happens an hour after you wake up or 2 hours or 3 hours after you wake up, I want you to get hungry, and then I want you to break the fast. Be a daytime eater. It does not help us to save up calories until we're going out to our favorite restaurant and having our 1,000 calories at that meal and then going home feeling overly full. Daytime eater is a good, healthy rule to live by. Number 3 is find a love for fitness and never give it up. Find a love. And fitness, of course, can be different for different people. It doesn't mean you have to have burly biceps and a 23-inch waist. It does mean that you have to love to move. Keeping your body moving means that you're going to keep the calories burning and keeping your muscles and your bones strong and ready for action. So find a love for fitness and never give it up. As we go to a few more, the other healthy rules can sort of vary. Of course, we want to stay hydrated. So drink water, but don't drink calories. So drinking calories can be dangerous. And so I use this one as kind of a fluctuating healthy rule to live by, because some people like black coffee or unsweet tea or water. So that's not even a predominant rule because they are already doing it. In some cases, adding juices can certainly be a way to add in some nutrition, but it could be dangerous because of the concentrated sugars. So be careful whenever you're drinking calories. Sometimes drinking protein drinks can be valuable if your goal is to get a lot of calories in a short period of time. So in some cases, drinking calories can be important. Again, it always depends on your goal. And then as we go a little farther into our varied healthy rules to live by, the other one that I talk about a lot is to balance your macros. And especially when you're just starting out, creating your best foods list, understanding where the proteins and the carbohydrates and the fats come from really help you to identify where are the macronutrients coming from, and am I getting a good amount of them? So when you think about protein, carbohydrates, and fats, and you're getting ready to start your best foods list, really think about what foods can you put in each of that category so that your meals can be fairly well balanced in each of those nutrients. It doesn't mean you have to eat only plant-based or just proteins from animal products to get your nutrition. It does mean, though, that you want to be purposeful in your decisions of where your foods are going to come from. And then I always try to mention it's important to make sure you've got well-planned meals so that you don't get stuck without food. So it should be healthy to go. And think about your planning of your week so that you can do some meal prep if that's something that you like, so that you don't get stuck without something healthy. Oftentimes I will work with somebody that's brand new in my practice, and they'll say, well, I just don't have time to cook. And that kind of leads them into, well, of course I have to eat McDonald's because I have no time to cook. And I try to gently tell them that we're all given the same hours in a day. So we just have to decide where is our priority. And so allowing time to shop and plan and having foods that are ready to go has a huge impact on your overall nutrition guidelines. And a healthy rule just means that we make the priority of having those foods handy. So when you're creating your grocery list, it's really important to start when you're not hungry. Otherwise, you want to buy a lot more than what you might actually need. But when you do your shopping trip, you want to have a plan in mind. So again, grab that best foods list and decide what you're going to have for the week. So picking your proteins, your carbs, and your fats so that you can plan healthy fast foods to go. Years ago, I had a dream of having a healthy fast foods place. Little did I know it was going to be Powerhouse Bakery. But I envisioned an idea that made sense when, as a kid, my family would go through fast food and grab meals because we had no time. And then when I learned that all we have to do is get a few protein items in the fridge, a few carbohydrate items in our grocery cart, it becomes easy to do meal prep. So you can pick beef, you can pick poultry, so chicken or turkey, and fish. So in your shopping trip, think of at least 3 different meats. In your carbohydrates category, as you're going through the produce section, the first thing you'll want to do is get at least 3 bright colors. That way you've got your veggies covered and they can last throughout the week. You're going to get produce in your cart, and you're also going to get some from the freezer so they can last even farther. So 3 bright colors in the produce section, and in the freezer section, get at least 2 that are going to be bright colors. So 2 veggies. Now, don't ever let somebody tell you to not go to the center of the store. That is where so many great options are, especially when you're filling your carbohydrate section of your grocery list. Get at least 1 or 2 of the bean category. So lentils or black beans. You can use canned or you can use dried. My favorite is to have a little bit of both. I could get some organic green lentils in a bag, and I could get some cans of black beans and garbanzo beans. So the black beans could be heated up and added to a dish as my carbohydrate. I could even add the garbanzo beans as a cold salad, ready to pack for a side salad at lunch. So my 3 bright colors in the produce section. The freezer, I'm going to have at least 2 veggies. It could be something like broccoli florets and maybe even some Brussels sprouts. Something that's going to give me an easy throw together and a quick weeknight meal. And then when I think about the fats, I'm still going to start in the produce section. Whether it be avocado or maybe some nuts. The produce section has great options that are going to fit into my fats category. And if I'm purposeful about picking great fats, it's going to be easy to add to my meals as I go. And so don't forget some of the wonderful oils. You can absolutely pick a plain olive oil. If you want to get a specialty olive oil that's just from one region, you're going to pay a little more, but that might be a flavor that will really make your meal complete and make it fun and interesting to prepare. So olive oil is great. You could even try some of the nut oils like walnut oil or pistachio. Nothing wrong with coconut oil as well. If you want to do some baking, that works out really well. So as I go through the grocery store and I'm making my shopping trip count, I want to get at least 3 of the meats category. I could also use some of the protein foods that could be plant-based. And so what's really nice is if I am careful, when I'm picking those carbohydrates, they can absolutely count as either my carbohydrate for that meal or as the protein for my meal. And then your fats can be sprinkled in. Having some great raw veggies and cooked will be a great way to add interest and intrigue to my shopping trip for my menu planning. And I can't emphasize enough the value of including everybody in your family in your menu planning and your shopping trip. If you have young kids at home, give them a challenge. The healthy rules to live by is so important for kids to learn too. And when you get your kids to help, you can send them on an adventure. They need to find something green. Maybe they need to find something that is in the bean family. Having the kids involved sets the stage for general healthy rules to live by that become part of your wellness paradigm. It's not something that you have to follow as a diet. It's not something that you have to follow by somebody else's eating plan. Instead, you can create your own. Knowing where the proteins come from, the carbohydrates and the fats, making sure that you get a good variety throughout the store makes it an easy win when you're doing your meal planning. And then more socialization happens because your kids and of course your friends can share recipes. And understanding really where the nutrition science comes in gives you a little intellectual challenge by understanding where the information is coming from. Is it valid and is it really sound science? Always putting up the information that you're getting against your own common sense filter is going to be a great way to make sure that your wellness plan is sound and it evolves and it involves the whole family. So let it evolve as you get new interesting foods and make sure it involves all of the family members so that your meal planning can be great and it can be a way to make the foods interesting and fun. So I hope this has helped, and if you ever want to share any of your healthy rules to live by, I would love to see them. Your healthy rules are very subjective because they're going to be based on your goals, and that becomes the most important. Thinking about where your wellness fits, and of those 5 bullet points, which area is your most important in this stage of your life. Always the healthy foods that go into your meal planning are going to count a lot. I hope this has helped, and I look forward to seeing you sometime soon at Powerhouse Bakery.